This is Christine Watts' summer internship at West Bay Interiors in Alexandria, Virginia. Initially, I had intended to open with kind of a time-lapse video of me getting to work, because I have to take the bus to the Pentagon to King Street in Alexandria, and then drive from King Street to Ginger's home. But apparently, the security folks at the Pentagon do not have a sense of humor in regard to recording video. Just to give you a little bit of context, West Bay is a small firm located in Alexandria, Virginia that is owned by Ginger Rodriguez. Primarily, she does residential work. She does occasionally do some commercial projects, but the bulk of her work is residential, which is what I was working on over the summer. Over the course of the summer, there was one main project I was working on, and that was the living room for a woman named Carol Nadworny. This was the drafting table I worked at. Mostly what I did over here was renderings. I didn't do a whole lot of plans by hand. They were done mostly in Photoshop. We had a lot of options for this project. These ones you're looking at here are the final option I had come up with. I used my tablet in Photoshop to do the renderings after I had traced them. These renderings here were done by the other intern. They were a bit distorted and she left before I did. So I took them again into Photoshop and I sort of adjusted them to fix the distortion problem. The final option that you saw here was actually something like option 5. We were pretty indulgent in the number of options we gave her because the original measurements for the room were off by 2 feet. These were taken before I had arrived, and so 2 weeks into the project, we've got the 3 options down, and, we take it in and they're clearly wrong. She had kind of a taste for larger scale furniture, which simply did not fit in the options we provided her. So we ended up spending much more time on this project than we would have normally. This is my primary workstation. This is where I did most of the specifications for the Nadworny project. I did the plans in AutoCAD here. Sometimes that little spot to the left where those samples are, there was the laptop there, depending on whether or not I needed Photoshop or not, since the desktop did not have Photoshop on it. One of the interesting aspects of West Bay's business is the acquisition and modification of antiques. These are some rugs, I apologize for the sideways view, that are waiting to go out to the antique store, Potomac West. This is an antique Italian chair. It was imported from Italy, and it originally had some kind of cross-stitching on the seat and the back, but it was reupholstered with a more modern-looking fabric, which is very typical of Ginger's style, and it is also waiting to go out to Potomac West, and this is just some leftovers of the fabric. This is West Bay's resource library. I apologize again for the sideways view. Because I was working on the Nadworny project for most of the summer and she tended to have very neutral tastes, I really didn't get a lot of opportunity to sort of go through the resources that West Bay had on hand. These are some samples we have out. Those bedding samples up at top are for a bedroom I'm currently working on. The zebra stripe went on some antique chairs there at Potomac West that you'll be able to see in a minute. And the rest of these are for other upholstering projects and some projects that I'm not currently working on. This is Potomac West. I'm kind of walking you through how you get to the dealer space. You actually go all the way through the store. It's quite a large store. And down these stairs to where designers like Ginger will host their antiques. This is the basement that hosts all the dealer space. Some of them, I don't know if you can see, are actually really nicely well laid out. A lot of them are not. The guy next to Ginger, he's currently putting some new stuff in his space, and it's very cluttered right now, which is a shame because he has some rather nice pieces. This in the back right corner here is Ginger's space. Those 2 chairs, which I'll get a close-up on in a minute, have the zebra fabric on them. This is an antique German armoire that she had taken the doors off of and kind of repainted. All these pieces she's acquired, some of them for a lot of money, some of them for not a lot. I did learn that generally, in terms of getting pieces like this, the way you do it is you double the price to make a profit as well as cover, shipping them in and that sort of thing. These are the two antique chairs with the zebra print fabric on them. Turned out absolutely gorgeous. These are the pieces set on the shelf in the German armoire. Absolutely everything in Ginger's space she has for sale. She pays a lot of attention to detail in terms of accessories and that kind of thing, and make sure that everything you see, you will have a chance to acquire. This is an Italian peacock. I believe it's made of ceramic. It's actually got quite lovely detail on the feathers and the general form of the bird. This is a close-up on one of the bamboo dining chairs. It is part of a dining set. We went into Potomac West to reduce the prices on some of the items, and this is one of the ones we reduced. And Ginger was actually talking about maybe changing the color of it and painting it to make it a bit more vibrant. Overall, I very much enjoyed my time working at West Bay. Ginger was probably the nicest person you could work for and was very accommodating in terms of getting me what I needed for my school stuff. I will say by the end of the summer, I was very, very sick of the Nadworny project. We spent probably 2 or 3 weeks longer on it than we would have normally. That was just something particularly interesting with that project, was she was a woman. Not only did we sort of mess up the project back at the beginning, but she had ties in the community, so it was very, very important that she had what she wanted so that she could spread the word around to other people. I did speak to Ginger before I left as well, and I'm taking only 12 credits this fall in order to get other school projects done, such as my honors project, and she was willing to keep me on and let me work on some of the other projects that I had started over the summer but wasn't able to complete. Particularly, there is a sensory room for a family. Their daughter has several disabilities in relation to kind of how she views space and how she understands things. So I was able to go in and take measurements and do the interviews for that project, but because Nadworny had so much more that needed to be done right then, I wasn't able to get a whole lot of work done. So hopefully I'll be able to do that come fall and get a little bit of a paycheck as well. So that was my summer experience at West Bay Interiors. I would definitely say I learned a lot from the experience, particularly in regard to dealing with people who might be difficult or mistakes that may have been made before you got there. Thank you for watching.